Have you ever dreamed you could fly? Come and see.
Why is a girl like you taking coding class? Our whole lives we're told by the world that if we don't look like Steve Jobs, we can't work with technology. And I don't like being told what to do.
I love your imagination. It's your superpower.
This is coding, and with it, you can create anything you set your mind to.
Imagine a world where we can give a voice to the voiceless.
Play Andy's song. I'm gonna make a whole new world. Everything's connected.
Take me with you into the future.
Time's up. Ready, girls?
Cool. All right. Yeah, first of all, I want to say it's super exciting seeing the turnout and how inspired. I know I left the films very inspired, and I hope you guys did as well. And it's nice to see plenty of young girls and boys excited about coding and all that. So we're going to get into this panel. Super empowered. I'm super excited to be sitting next to all of these amazing women. First question I have for you guys. What excited you about the opportunity to direct one of these short films? Anyone can go first. Whoever just feels it first.
In order of most important.
That's going to be Nikki.
It's weird to talk first, so I'll just jump in. Then I'll just,
Nikki.
I'll sound less eloquent than all of you, and then you'll take off. My film was first, I'll go first. I think I love the idea of telling a story that was aspirational and inspirational, but also felt grounding and dealt with real life issues and topics and things that are uncomfortable. And yes. I think we all kind of did that in some capacity. And
not me.
I love learning and growing with a project. And this issue was something that was brought to my attention by Marisa and Straight Up, and when the project presented itself, I felt even more motivated to tell a story about young women, to hopefully inspire young women.
Amazing. That was a beautiful answer.
Someone say something else, more articulate.
I'll answer second because I was in your film and you hit me up. I think you DM'd me or you texted me or something.
I have your number.
Yeah, you texted me. You texted me. Sorry. I was just curious. Hey, Ava DuVernay got me in her video. She slid into my DMs. It's the way it's done nowadays. That's how I got Zoe Luna to be a part of the project. We were when we were casting and looking for trans girl actresses, we were having a really hard time, and we got a lot of trans boys who showed up for the audition, but we didn't get any trans girls. And I was really, wanting it to be really real.
Wait, that young woman is a trans girl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she became pretty
She's a phenomenal actress.
Yeah, she's great. And so literally slid into her DMs because my friend was like, oh, I don't know her personally, but she was in this quinceañera documentary and maybe you should ask her. And I called her, I DM'd her, and then she came in 45 minutes to the screen. It was crazy. It was amazing, and she came through. It was great. But I just want to say the reason why I jumped into the directing whole thing is because I had FOMO. And so it was a lot more like your character in Girl Code than you know. But it literally was sort of just like, hi, I'm on set. This is so great with Gina and Nikki, and what's happening here, and how come no one asked me to direct that?
In which we immediately did.
For being a part of our movie.
Oh, whoa. It's incredible. So thank you so much, and thank you so much. It was just a dream come true to be able to see how this industry that I've grown up in and is such an opportunity to continue to keep pushing boundaries and stretching our imaginations and inspiring us and pushing us to be that much greater than we think we can be. And that challenge was just really exceptional, and I'm really grateful.
Amazing.
And
all right.
And I also think that the fact that we ourselves got out of our comfort zone as actresses, and we're encouraging young girls to do the same thing, it was like a double win in so many ways. I think. For me, it was like definitely
I know you guys got me wanting to direct as well. I mean, maybe in the future we'll see.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. I'll hop into the second question I have for you guys. So in all of these different shorts, there were different types of technologies, and there was also different types of inspiration. So did any of you guys find inspiration in these films, and if you did connect it to the film, how did you make that personal connection?
When we were given this assignment, I was trying to figure out. I was trying to relate to myself as a young girl, and so I thought a lot about what inspired me as an imaginative young girl, and the thoughts that Lulu has about trying to imagine infinity and trying to understand atoms. All that were things that blew my mind when I was young. So I really wanted to. I felt like that was my way in to remember what it was like to be 8 to 18, and really just discovering and being mind expanding. Everything's mind expanding when you're that age. So, yeah, that's why I did it.
That's sweet.
I thought of my niece who was 13 at the time, and that was kind of our target demographic of young women who are leaving science and math all of a sudden, and or not staying the course. Not you girls, I know you are. And I thought, what would she watch? Like, what would she not click through and go, eh? And I thought she needed to see aspirational, lovely people, but also you need to dump the mom as fast as you can, in my experience. And so the fact that we each had a piece of technology in our short, and mine was the Waymo, the driverless car, and I thought that was a good opportunity to dump the mom. So if that's personally resonating, then that's how it personally resonated.
Your message is dump the mom.
Dump the mom.
So I'm learning coding right now.
No way.
I am.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh,
I started a company 2 years ago. I've not been acting anymore, actually. I started a company 2 years ago that focuses on using extracted gold from the motherboards of recycled technology to make fine jewelry.
Incredible.
And we also use cultivated diamonds, so diamonds that are grown from a diamond seed that are molecularly identical to diamonds without the environmental consequences. And
Boring.
That was a mouthful, I know. But I wear many hats within the company, and one of them is coding. Sorry, that was a long spiel. I say it fast now. One of them is coding, and I think one of the things that I love so much about wearing so many hats in a company is learning about each of those areas, and I'm learning coding, and I know how to work the back end of my website and building all of that myself, so I feel really inspired by all of this as well, and it's amazing to see multiple industries overlap, fashion and tech, and the intersection of that.
For me, it was a very, very personal journey because I recently lost my dad like 2 months before. They invited me to this project, and I was like reading all the log lines, and I read the story by Borja, who is here somewhere. Thank you, Borja. You're amazing. Thank you. And I was like, oh my God, this is meant to be. I have to do this. I have to honor my dad in a way, and also talk about achieving your goals, your dreams, but also about grieving and also about feeling lost and just pushing and keep going because eventually you'll fly and you're gonna make it. So in so many ways, it was a journey for me, and I grieved through it as well, just like the character.
Yeah, so sad. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. We felt that. I felt that watching that. Amazing. We very much appreciate you. Something I guess we could play off of this, and you could just come up first for this next one. What was the most rewarding part about watching your film once it was all put together?
Oh God, I try not to cry so bad. And you are all amazing, by the way. I totally respect you, and I feel honored to be here tonight with you sharing the stage. I don't know, like seeing it all together. And also the fact, we were talking about this earlier, the fact that we, as actresses, we are out of our comfort zone trying a different field. And I feel like the message that I'm sending and what I'm inviting young girls to do, I did it myself in a way. So it's like kudos for me in a way. Also, it's like, great, I did it. Yeah. So it was a great feeling for me.
I'm a little in love down here. What was the question? I was just watching her.
What was most rewarding about watching the short Once Is
Oh, I kept leaning to all of these women who made me cry one after the other, and I was like, get ready for some empty calories. We're gonna finish real light. Have you ever tried to make a dinner out of cotton candy? Because I knew I had made something light, but I made it purposely light. Because I wanted it. I kept thinking, what would my niece watch? Boy, I can't even imagine. Of course, she'll watch all of these, and she'll probably weep and cry, and then go, Aunt Julie, please. But I thought...
I was so thankful for your movie. I was like, yes, I want to laugh.
Sometimes you need to bury the message a little. And so I was excited to see that the audience was ready for that. It was fun to hear them laugh. So that's what was exciting for me. And to see my son on screen, Harris, with the drone. One of my kids. He's at home doing homework right now, but yeah.
I actually like to say I wanted to bring up, and so many of the things that I brought up in my short are all the things that stop us. Bullying. I wanted to talk about that and how devastating that can be. People commit. There's people commit themselves to just shutting down and not developing and not showing up because they don't feel like they have that support out there. I wanted to talk about how dangerous it is, how much information we put online, and how vulnerable we make ourselves, and how we have to be smart about that. I wanted to bring up how important it is to reach out and ask for help. And to trust your friends and trust your community to be there for you so you can problem solve together when something's too overwhelming for you. It's like, in a spiritual sense, which I love so much of that. There's so much heart and spirit and humor and laughter and connection and reality that's embedded in all of these films, which I think is just so important. And that reality of just that heart space you got to protect. And, I'm a big fan of, we all have a space in the circle. We're not separate from each other. We're all holding hands in that circle. And oftentimes when we get hurt, when we feel vulnerable, when we get scared, we pull away from the circle and we step back. And those are the moments where we need to step in and be held in the circle and have everybody else support us until we can stand back in that circle and support somebody else. And I just wanted to have things like that show up and see how they problem solve those things. When, do you give up the friendship? Do you all just fight and just walk away and give up? Or do you empower each other and go, no, you're right, and I can actually see why you gave up, and you were trying to protect us, and I see that, but no, because this is bigger actually than all of us individually, and none of those things that this person's trying to exploit about us that we put online that makes us sensitive and personal is anything that could defeat us, because we've also grown from those experiences, and those experiences didn't stop us, so this one won't either. And I just kind of wanted to show that in so many ways, especially, like the idea, it's subtle, but just the idea of like how many people were possibly in this contest, and why did he pick those girls to try to take down? Why did he feel like he was threatened? In some ways, people are really interested in seeing girls in science and tech, so maybe he thought they'd have so much shine that he would not be able to get attention on his as a boy. So I wanted to just kind of, and not totally demonize him and make him this horrible person. It wasn't so much that he's exploiting these different things because he really truly is misogynistic and homophobic and transphobic and all these things. It's actually more to the extent that he's vulnerable and he's scared and he has issues, and maybe he doesn't have people around him to support him, to let him know that what he's doing is enough, and that he doesn't need to take away from someone else, and someone else doesn't have to win someone else has to lose in order for him to win. So it was just a lot of that stuff was peppered in there of the things that I've seen over and over and over again, but I just wanted to see flipped on its head and see these girls problem solve. And when, Zoe Bella's in it and Tracy Toms is in it, who I've done multiple films with, both of them, and it was sort of like an Easter egg of just going, I met Tracy on Rent, and then we auditioned for Death Proof, and then she didn't get the role, and we were like, no, we went in together and we got the role, and then we became really great friends with Zoe, and Zoe produced something and she cast us, and it's just been this thing where we've continued to show up for each other, and it was just that. And these three girls are in that really precarious moment, is this friendship gonna break, or are they gonna get stronger? and end up having a history of showing up for each other and knowing that they can depend on each other like true family. And that was, so all of that stuff I thought was just so important. The things that stop us and just, it's so often just a connection away, a communication away from being resolved.
Wow. All right, to kind of switch the subject, I'm going to make you guys think a little bit.
Damn it.
If you haven't been already, I mean, no. If you could use technology and content to change one thing about the world, what would that be? Sit on it.
Can we ask the audience? You guys can chime in. It's not just for us.
If anybody has any ideas, feel free.
Yes,
Yeah, there you
energy.
go.
I feel like
Immediately thought
there's no
environment.
career at the
Said that.
future without that.
Yeah.
All these young people, the most important thing in the world is our environment and fixing that. Yeah. All the problems we have to do with our environment.
Internally and externally.
Yeah. So here's to you guys. Come up with a solution.
We left you a big one.
Counting on you.
Well, that's the thing though, right? Because we're still here.
Right.
And like we're a part of it. So we're counting on you, not like, okay, buck's passed on to you. It's going, we're counting on you to join us.
Yeah.
And like work with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Like this amazing young lady who's 15 years old who wants to be a pediatric oncologist.
She's
Incredible. Yeah, round of applause. That's amazing. All right, I think I'm gonna jump
We
off.
open this up to Q&A.
Yeah,
Yes?
do you guys have questions?
Who's
Wanna chime in?
who's running? Is Katie? Katie, you have a microphone? Okay.
Ooh,
So
all
we've
right.
got some
If you
questions.
have a question, raise your hand. We have Kate over here. Oh, here we go.
Thank you so much for having us here. I know it means a lot to all of our girls, and we really appreciate it. I wanted to ask, how did you come about getting the scripts that you used for your shorts? Were there like a few in the running that you looked at? Did you help build them yourself? What was that process like?
We were all paired with a young writer who had never written a screenplay before, and the process was a really wonderful one because we kind of nurtured the development of the project and had the opportunity to kind of be a part of that first experience for that writer. But it was an interesting experience.
It was interesting for the writers because I immediately we discussed the whole project with Marisa and my friend Robin Jonas, who's another producer, and I thought, okay, got it, and I know exactly the female writer, and they said the one thing is we would like you to collaborate with a male writer, and I was like, why? I thought this is about the ladies. And they're like, no, it's about working together. Yeah. And I was like, oh. So I missed that. Like, I was really ready to just be a castrating lady person. But I did know I knew I wanted to do something light. And I approached some friends who had written on Modern Family and some comedy friends, and one of them took the bait, and I worked with him.
This is a question I have. Did any of you guys going back to the different technologies that were used, did you know those were real things? Like, I know for me, when I read the script, I was like, there's self-driving cars? That's a real thing. In like Arizona or something, they started Waymo. Shout out to Waymo. That's a real thing, and that really caught me off my feet. So did any of you guys have any idea that was happening?
I was Googling and YouTubing everything all the time. Like, oh my God, this is real. I have to learn more about this. So, yeah.
I had a meeting with Jacquard to try to figure out how to create future technology that felt reasonable, that felt like we could get there. So I was inspired by a thing that they do right now, which is with holograms, which mine's not holograms, it's 3D printing, but you can do this thing with holograms where you take like your 2-year-old to this hologram place and they do a hologram of them having breakfast, and then when your kid's 13, they can have breakfast with themselves by putting on, those glasses and just kind of sit with themselves. And so I thought that was really a cool concept of storing memory digitally. So with mine, I made it a 3D print as an idea of 30 years in the future or whatever.
That's amazing that you just grew from that idea. Because, there's so much.
They were like, no, you can't do a hologram. We already have a hologram. Damn it.
It worked, and it definitely inspired. Anybody else?
I read an article about a woman who had been in a really terrible car accident, and they were working on moving in this direction for her, and I felt really inspired by it. And the technology, unless something has changed in the last year and a half, wasn't developed, but it made me want to tell that story. It was a very emotional piece to read, and that was two-dimensional, so I thought seeing this come to life would be... Anyway.
Absolutely, it was like a beautiful hybrid of technology and heart. It was really beautiful. Yeah. Cool. Any more questions? Oh, we have a question right here. Nice hair, by the way. I like it. It's cool.
I've got a Google microphone for you.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I'm fancy now.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. How is all of this going to be shown to like the rest of the world who couldn't come here today, because obviously you can't fit an entire world in this room?
So this Friday it's going to be on YouTube. Yes. It's going to be on YouTube.
The Power On channel.
Yeah. So go tell your friends. Check it out. Subscribe. Yes.
Subscribe.
Share. Repost. Do all that. Any more questions?
Did you plant her in the audience? That was an excellent question.
We planted a few people around. Oh, there's a girl. Oh,
there's a question
Carolyn,
there.
there's a girl in the back.
I'm allowed to throw it to you, but I feel like
would be cool.
Thank you so much. These stories are fiercely important, and I really appreciated the spectrum of representation. One thing that was really central that I appreciated was the importance on women and relationships that girls have with one another and with other people. I'd love to hear a little bit about how you maintain the authenticity of those relationships, and I'd love to hear how you maintain the authenticity of the representation spectrum that you've showcased in these stories today.
Well, I had sisters, and I know that you can love them and fight with them all day long. So that felt authentic to me. As far as being representational in the microcosm, I thought that girls fight and girls love, and they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Well, I'm so happy that you made that question, because for me, it was really important to find a story with a Mexican-American family. And I'll do a short... And to do a film where you can actually speak in English and Spanish. Mm-hmm. Because there's this stereotype and cliche that Mexicans, or Latinos for that matter, can only do certain jobs. And I really wanted to raise the awareness and to tell young girls and young boys out there that maybe the next Steve Jobs can have a Latino last name, you know? Woohoo! So... I know the struggle. I know that it's changing little by little. It takes a lot of work, but I wanted to do a little bit and try to just put there mi granito de arena. I have some of my cast here. If they want to stand up, what's up? You too, Zoe. Zoe, that's you too. So I worked with some of my besties, which was the best thing, and I was just really grateful that the girls really got along with each other. They're totally different human beings, but as all of us are. But it was just really beautiful to see, because they're so professional and they're so talented and they're so creative. They were just really able to make characters and personalities shine through, even though we didn't create these really specific certain dynamics to kind of really go, well, what kind of music do you think that girl listens to? Whatever, it kind of came out through their fashion and their behavior and you know, just these moments that they created that just really individualized them. And it just was really beautiful to see everything that they brought, because we didn't, as you know, we don't have that much time. So much had to be in between the lines. And it just really resonates, and it just feels really authentic. I felt like I know these girls, I believe these girls. I could see them at school going in completely different directions, but I could also see them showing up at the tree
treehouse later and going, well, this is what I figured out today, and let's pool it and make something really special. And it didn't have to be that they were exactly the same and loved all the same things. It actually, what was best was that they had their differences, and those differences gave them strength because it allowed them, when they collaborated, to make something that each of them individually couldn't do on their own. And I just think that's a really critical thing, is to recognize, when you see so many leaders and people in spaces, they've got assistants and all these different people who are working with them. It's like an extension of a brain. No one person has all that information. They go and you're either Googling it, or you're going out to your community and kind of going, okay, cool, I need to get this done by this time. Who's got this and who's got that, and how can we do this? And it's like an expansion of your brains. If you have that community of people you can rely on that are really going to show up, suddenly it doesn't matter that you don't know it, because you all know it. And now it's known, and now it can be that much better. And I just think that really resonated.
I've got my sisters over here, Michaela and Princess. Please stand up. So beautiful. They're so beautiful, and I really wanted to try to touch on how, Lulu, Princess's character, couldn't cure cancer, but she could use the power of her imagination to take her sister on these journeys that she so desperately needed. And it was the idea that it's your imagination as young people that give us promise, and that can change anything and everything. Even though she couldn't save her sister, she changed the quality of her life completely. And I just love their connection. So sweet. Thank you, guys.
Amazing.
So talented. I think I wanted to tell a story that spoke about the... there's a real lack of gender diversity in STEM fields, but there's also a real lack of cultural diversity, and I think that's what we're all up here trying to say. And I don't know what the up-to-date stats are, but I think it's something like 14% or 20% of STEM fields. It's like an appallingly low number. Are women, and I also loved the idea of flipping a story on its head and letting the girl save the boy. I remember when we started writing, I think the first draft, and Adam, if you're here, please don't kill me because I could be making this up, but I feel like there was a conversation of, should Andy be the girl and the boy comes in and saves the girl? And I immediately said no, it's got to be the other way around. And not only that, I don't feel like you see in film very often platonic relationships between girls and boys. It's always a love story. But those exist in real life, and some of the most important relationships I have in my life are platonic relationships with the opposite sex. And I feel like as much as we're in a movement that is all about women and supporting women, and I love that, I also think we need to remember to be inclusive of these wonderful men that are a part of all of our stories. And it's not about exclusivity, it's about inclusivity.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Oh, over there.
Question over here.
Dune bug,
What was the story behind you guys casting the people? How did you cast them?
We had casting sessions.
Yeah, we had casting sessions.
People come in and they read from the script, they play the character in the room, and we have all different girls come in. Some of them don't get the job, but it's so beautiful to see people come and try and take on these roles. And I think all of us as actors it's really important to us that we make it a safe space for people to get the job or even not get the job. Princess actually, she came in, she read it, and it was fine. And then I sort of re-explained the whole meditation about infinity, and she just burst into tears. And it was such a beautiful moment, to have a real moment in an environment that can be so stressful is a really magical experience. And so sometimes it can be great, and sometimes it can be terrible, but that was the process.
Yeah, I have to agree. That was the best, and that was the highest and the lowest part of the process, because all of us have been in that room over and over and over. And sometimes it feels so deeply personal, and it's not when you're the person. And so I really felt a responsibility, and I'm sure the other women did too, to make the people that were coming in to read feel like their work and their time was valued. So often you're left just sitting in a room somewhere for hours. You don't know what's going on and why. And we saw so many wonderful actresses for my short, and I was heartbroken that I couldn't cast them all. And I wish that I could call younger me and be like, it's not about you. Sometimes it's just about somebody else. So
but it was so hard for me as well, because all these pretty, amazing little girls were in there, and I was like, can I just cast them all, please? And I remember when Ariana came in, she's somewhere here. I started crying because I was like, I can't believe she's so beautiful. And in a way, I understood that that's a really hard job. And now I totally look at it so different. Whenever I go and cast, it's like, okay, I get it. It's hard for you as well, so it's all right. So also, in a way, Power On changed me, because now I don't suffer anymore whenever I go into casting.
We have one more question.
Wait, on that note, really quickly, can I just... Bella and Derek and Thomas Decker are here, and Rosario's here, of course, as well. Gina couldn't make it tonight, but can I just say thank you guys wherever you are? Are you here? I see Bella.
Yay! Yay, Bella!
There you are. Hi, sweetie. You guys have all grown up so much. It's hard. I don't recognize anyone. And Thomas Decker is somewhere.
I saw him earlier.
Maybe he's being shy, which is not like Thomas, but he might be. Anyway, thank you guys so much. You're so wonderful in this film, and thank you for being a part of this with me.
Hi.
Do we have time for one more?
I got the mic, but it's fun.
Hello? Anyone out there?
Well, my question, I guess, is kind of quick. I just feel like the doors for women are opening in a lot of areas, which is wonderful. Tons of room to grow, obviously. But there's so many young people here, and I think it'd be really awesome to hear a story that you had in your younger years, that you felt that door closing in your face because you're a female, and how you got past it to inspire these young ladies so they can recognize when a situation like that happens.
There's almost a hesitation I have. I was talking to some press people earlier. I went to all girls schools until I was 14. And the messaging that I was getting at those schools, they were excellent schools. And at the time, this was the best messaging, was all women's education is best for you, because when you are in a classroom with boys, when it comes to science and math, the boys are going to put their hands up and the teacher's going to call on them. Like, in a way, they were reinforcing the stereotype, and they did not realize the damage that was doing. So I'm almost hesitant to say, look out for this, because what I love is how your experience, as I'm looking at all these purple ties, these young women are probably having a completely different experience, and I don't want to color it in any way by old school thinking. It's just if it excites you, if it turns you on, if you can't stop thinking about it when you go to school and you can't wait to like compete in it or write it or sing it or make it, do it.
That's right.
And that's it.
Yeah. When I was 11, when I was in 6th grade, we had to write essays on what we wanted to be when we grew up, and I wrote an essay that I wanted to be an actress, and everyone laughed at me, because by 6th grade, boys and girls already believed that none of those things were things they had access to. Like, they already were sitting on top of their dreams and saying, this won't happen. At 11. And so I say to you guys, everything is possible. Yes, if you've got a passion, if you've got something you're excited about, you go and you make that happen. The world is yours. Take it.
I also think it's very important to end the whole mean girl culture.
Yeah.
It's like, girls, just support your girls, talk to each other, and believe me, there's gonna be a lot of blessings for you. It's gonna be all better if you team up.
Yes. I think we have anybody else? I'm getting the wrap it up comment. Oh, my daughter wants to ask a question, so I have to have that happen.
Well, we have
over
to
there.
let her.
Dune? Where is she?
She also
No,
gave
she's
great
hiding.
feedback
Yeah, she
when we
doesn't.
were
Oh, she
editing.
did. Yep. She and Gigi.
Yep, and her friends came through and was like, okay, I understand this. What's this about? It was great.
Is she asking a question?
You have to
Is she too
June
shy?
talking to the box.
Okay.
You want to stand up so we can see you? We can only see your head.
This is why she wants a driverless car to take her away from her mother.
That's true. That's true.
What did you feel like after all the movies were done? Or little show thingy? I don't know what they're called.
You mean tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, like after you built all of them with all the actors and
Like we felt like
Like, how can 5 minutes take so much out of your life? And let me do some more.
yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up, let's thank our talented filmmakers.